What's going on, guys? My name is Eldeniro and welcome to episode 38 of my Leicester City career mode on FIFA 15. We're starting this episode off with our first competitive game of the season so far. This is season 3 for anyone who doesn't know. We're in the year 2016, I do believe, and we're playing against Stoke City, and this is how our team looks. We've gone with a different formation today because I just decided to go with a little, I don't know, I guess some formation experimentation just to see how it works out. We're playing away at the Britannia, and it's Stoke on the attack early on with Bardsley playing it into Bojan, who crosses it into Diouf, who finds the back of the net as he has a habit of doing against us, but thankfully for us, the linesman with his Leicester City flag waved it on the sidelines, and nothing came of it. It was in an offside position, and then we came forward a few minutes later with Leite on the ball. Maicon Leite making his debut, of course, for Leicester today, along with several other players, including Ki Sung-yong, and in fact probably too many to name, but Rowan Ince plays the ball back to Ki Sung-yong and then gets the ball back and goes for a left-footed shot that goes just wide. But it was a shot, it was nearly on target. I'll take it any day of the week. We approach goal in the 27th minute with Zaha on the ball, and he goes on a nice little run. There was an overlap from Ince, but Zaha decided to go alone. He went for the shot and it was deflected just wide, which put it out for a corner kick, which will be taken and swung inwards by Gary Gardner, wearing the number 8 this season, of course, because Matty James has left the club and that was his number. But the ball comes out to Rowan Ince, who gets his shot off, and even though the goalkeeper didn't react, I think that was actually pretty close to hitting the target. Just before half-time, Stoke came forward with Munisa on the ball, playing it into Bojan, who finds Stephen Ireland. Ireland does the back heel to Bojan, and Bojan finds a shooting position from there, which was some pretty good work by him. And the Stoke pressure continued all the way up to the end of the first half, with Bojan and Bardsley combining on the right hand side, which is a sentence I honestly never thought that I would say. But Bojan plays the ball into Stephen Ireland, who finds the back of the net with ease, with a shot that I think Kasper Schmeichel should have saved. I don't like. Here's a question for you guys. I know it's a fair bit into the episode now, but who has been your favorite goalkeeper to use on FIFA 15 so far? It can be on Ultimate Team either, because I like Schmeichel a lot. He does a great job for me, but every now and then he's prone to stupid mistakes, and I think I'm someone who's always been guilty of expecting too much from goalkeepers. So I don't know if it's just me or not, but yeah, we'll see. In the 66th minute, we sort of went on a counter-attack from a corner here with Jeffrey Schlupp on the ball. He came on as a second-half substitute, and he plays the ball into Wilfried Zaha, who approaches the Stoke City goal and does manage to get a shot from distance off, but it went well wide of the post, and the game remains at 1-0 to Stoke up until the final 5 minutes, when the ball comes into Jeffrey Schlupp, who, I don't know, Berahino had a shot, a hit off a defender. It came back to Schlupp, who could have done better with that chance. Sadly, it wasn't to be, and sadly we lose our first game of the season, and it looks as though that 4th place finish is going to be increasingly difficult to replicate as the season goes on. But we did lose our first game of last season as well against Hull City, so I'm not overly bothered. And now our next game is my most important game ever at the King Power Stadium. It is against Sevilla in the Champions League qualifier. The winner of this tie overall will have a place in the group stages of the Champions League and the lucrative cash sum that comes with that. This is how our team looks. We've gone with the 4-4-2 holding, Gardner and Ki Sung-yong holding in midfield, just because they're both pretty good at passing the ball. I've moved Koyate into the central defensive position just because I thought that he would do quite well there. And Sevilla's team is a pretty good one. They've got Ever Banega playing behind Bacca, with Alex Vidal and Vitolo on the wings, and Krikoviak in midfield with Iborra, Cicinho and Ricardo Rodriguez as the fullbacks for them. So it's a very good Sevilla team, and they could have had a chance in the 11th minute but for a great block from John Stones. But we come up to the half-hour mark before anything else happened in the game, and it was the ball being played through to Banega, who had a look up and played it into the run of Vitolo, who did get his shot off, and thankfully for us it went wide, but it was a very good shot, and I was very worried. But we move into the second half. Not a lot happening in this game. Obviously a very cagey affair, the first game of its kind for us really as a club, and Zaha picks the ball up, and he's from distance, he just fires it into the back of the net with his right foot, and that was such a ludicrous goal because he only scored 3 goals in all of last season, 2 of which were penalties. And he just finds the back of the net from distance with such ease after cutting in from the right hand side or the left hand side, and it makes me wonder if I've been wasting him at left mid all this time. I have read several comments from people who play him as a centre forward or a cam, and I'm thinking maybe I should move him in there, because that is a ridiculous strike to give us an unlikely lead against much superior opposition. Sevilla are a team who've played in the Champions League several times. We're a team who've never done it, but in the 56th minute Sevilla wanted retribution. They wanted a goal back. They wanted to take something from the game, but their corner kick led to a counter-attack from us, and Sinclair plays a great ball into Dwight Gale, who moves into position, but sadly Cicinho gets across and clears the danger before the crisis could become more apparent for Sevilla. But Sinclair is on the ball. He does a step over or something. He turns around, he plays it into Gary Gardner, who gets brought down inside the box by Ibarra, leading to a penalty on the hour mark. And this was an unbelievable turn of events, because I thought that I'd completely fucked up that chance from the corner, from the counter that we had, but thankfully Sevilla did concede a penalty and give us a way to double our lead and take that to Sevilla and see how we do over there. Dwight Gale steps up to take the penalty up against Beto in goal for Sevilla, and Gale steps up, he hits it perfectly, it goes into the corner of the net even though the goalkeeper dived the right way, and we go 2-0 up in such unlikely circumstances against Sevilla. Like, this was a cagey game, you can tell that by the fact that this is only the 4th highlight of it. But take nothing away from us, I think we actually did really well to contain the game as well as we did. But Koyate lost possession in the 89th minute, and the ball comes to Alex Vidal, who plays it into Bacca, who does really well, in all honesty, to keep the ball away from Robertson there. He played it into the box, but it was cleared away. Eventually, though, it does come back into Bacca, who plays it to Benega, who has a look up and finds Cicinho coming on the overlap. Cicinho plays it into Pereira, who is a second half substitute. He plays it into Benega, and Sevilla just toying with us here until the ball comes into Daniel Carrico, who ends up scoring and getting an away goal for Sevilla. And I was so gutted at this, but not half as good as I was 2 minutes later when Vitolo plays the ball into Bacca, who is free in open space. He passes it to Carrico to double his tally, but the ball bounces off Kasper Schmeichel. It eventually does get hit on target by someone, but John Stones cleared it off the line, and it was very, very worrying, because we went 2-0 up, we conceded an away goal, fine, because we still have the advantage, but if we were to concede another goal, there is no way we'll go to Sevilla and score 1 or 2 goals. Like, it just seems like a very difficult thing for us to do, but we did come away with a victory in that game, and that is incredible. Our next game is against Middlesbrough, newly promoted side, similar, in fact last season our second game of the season was against newly promoted Fulham. Now it's against newly promoted Middlesbrough, and Maicon Leite plays up front with Jeffrey Schlupp in this game, just because a lot of players had to be rested, because this game was sandwiched with 2 Sevilla fixtures on either side of it in the space of 3 days, so it was always going to be a game that I wasn't overly prepared for. But at the same time, it's good that it's against lesser opposition. No offense to Middlesbrough, I actually really like Middlesbrough. I'd like to do a career mode with them someday maybe, but in the 13th minute we did get a corner kick which gets swung in towards Jeffrey Schlupp, who comes very close with the header, hitting off the crossbar and eventually being cleared by the Middlesbrough defence. But this was a game where it took us a long time to kind of hit our stride. We were always on the more dominant side of the two, but it was just a really strange game where most of our shots came from distance, such as this one from Jack Grealish, which probably wasn't even highlight worthy. I just thought that maybe I don't know, it's like in FIFA 14 I would have gotten a fairly good shot on target there, I thought. But in the 28th minute the ball comes to Maicon Leite, who does really well inside the box. He's so agile, he's so skillful, and he's so quick, and his finesse shot hits off the post and remains in the goalkeeper's arms somehow. Nsue came forward in the 32nd minute. He plays it into Carriol, who has a look up inside the box, and he finds Kozak, whose shot hits off the post, and that was the first Middlesbrough attack of the game, and a very dangerous looking one as well. And then they came forward about 6 minutes later with Adam Clayton on the ball. He plays it into Kozak, who has a look up and manages to retain possession, and it finds its way back to Clayton, whose shot was thankfully not on target. But we come into the second half, we were just trying to put the game to bed so I could substitute the better players of the team and use them to take them to Sevilla in the next game. But Maicon Leite coming forward, he cuts inside brilliantly. I have a feeling he's just going to be an immense player for us this season when I learn how to shoot properly and finish the chances with him. But he was so good so far. And in the 60th minute the ball comes to Rowan Ince, who plays it into Jeffrey Schlupp on the edge of the area, who just goes for the shot from distance. Now, it wasn't ever going to trouble the goalkeeper, but just that's an example of how difficult it was to try and break down Middlesbrough in this game. But the ball comes through to Kike in the 62nd minute, who gets into a decent position and amazingly fails to hit the target from there, which is really not acceptable at this level, I don't think. But we come up to like almost the final 15 minutes of the game, and it was becoming apparent that we really needed to get the win here after losing against Stoke, because the board wants us to get a 4th place finish at the absolute worst. So The ball comes to Maicon Leite, who takes on Ayala. He goes for a little weird few skill moves, not really anything amazing, just managing to hold on to possession, and that's mainly down to his agility. But he does go for the shot. He's tackled by Daniel Ayala at the last minute in the 76th minute, and the referee comes over and books Ayala, despite Ayala being behind him, and shows him the red card because that was his second bookable offence. It's a penalty for us. We made a triple substitution immediately after the chance, but as you can see from this replay, it was a definite penalty because I think Leite would have gotten the shot on target otherwise. But we made a triple substitution. Berahino came on, and his first order of business in this game was to try and find the back of the net and do what he'd struggled so much to do all of last season, and actually find goals for the club. But thankfully for us, he does do it. He sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. He runs over celebrating, and finally, with 11 minutes left in the game, we eventually take a much deserved lead into this game. But Middlesbrough came forward on an all-out attack mode in the 87th minute, which thankfully for us, with our very, very pacey front line, just led for a counter-attack. And it comes to Jeffrey Schlupp, who has Williams ahead of him, and with the gap in the defence, it comes into Maicon Leite, and it's going to be so easy for the Brazilian to get his first goal for the club, which he does in the last minute of the game, and we go 2-0 up. And that's just some expert counter-attack, and it's going to be so easy to exploit a team with 10 men like that. But that's how the game ends, a 2-0 victory for us in what's been a fairly good episode gameplay-wise. You know, we lost to Stoke, which is no big deal because we did lose the first game of last season, as I did mention. But if we can build on this momentum, if we can get into the Champions League, and if we can get some money to bring in maybe one world-class player or one just excellent 80-plus rated player, this could be a fantastic season for us, and I am really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are really looking forward to it too. If you are and you want to leave a like on the video, that would be much appreciated. I've been El Dinero. Thanks for watching.